Hello everybody and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room. My name is Louis and we're back for another episode of the chat room. It's becoming a regular occurrence. We were only live last Thursday and we're back again on Monday. It's crazy. It's the off season. It's the perks and the negatives of the off season. You're stuck with me on a more regular basis outside of watch-alongs and there's no Liverpool football. So it's something that we need to get used to, but we do it every year. So I'm sure we'll be fine. I hope you are all doing well on this Monday. The hangover from a lovely double bank holiday weekend as well and truly set in, and we're straight away back to a 5-day week, which feels a little bit harsh, a bit of a burden on the system, etc., but we'll all get through it together with some lovely Liverpool content. So if you are new, if this is the first time you're checking us out, and even if you've been here before, please do like this video and please remember to subscribe to the channel as well, ticking that bell notification so that you know every time we go live, which is normally every single day at 7:30 like today. I'm bang on time actually, which makes a nice change. And you can also join our Discord server if you would like to in the video description. A lot to get through today apart from the title, which is focused around Moneyball, how Liverpool operates, how FSG operate in the transfer window, which I think, just going off of our streams recently, is something that a lot of you are wondering about. What are we going to do? Are we going to go big this year? There's not been too many concrete rumblings about transfers apart from what's already over the line, which is Diaz in January and Carvalho, which was confirmed a week or two ago. Apart from that, nothing really concrete in terms of actually getting anybody in. Lots of rumours linked with every player under the sun, as we normally are, some more than others, and we'll certainly speak about those on this show. But I just wanted to talk about the system they've got in place, that Moneyball system, how it really operates and what we can expect. Is it sustainable? Nothing lasts forever, but how long can it last? Can we continuously buy low, sell high? Can we continuously be somewhat a buy to sell club, a sell to buy club? Can we continuously buy players who are hidden away? How best to describe them? Not average at best, but you know, decent players for decent transfer fees, and then development of world-class players, which we have seen on quite a regular basis. How much of that is down to Klopp? How much of that is down to the recruitment team? We'll have a chat about it, but plenty to get through before then. Lots of stories coming out left, right and centre, as I said, linked with every player under the sun, but news of our own as well. If you were on the live stream earlier, James Milner has, of course, snubbed interest from at home and abroad, taken a bit of a pay cut, it's reported. I don't think that's been 100% confirmed, but there's rumours he's taken that pay cut, which I find quite surprising, but we can talk about that. And he will be staying another year, and that is absolutely signed. Other news which we'll of course get through. We'll get through every single thing on here, by the way. I'm not just brushing over it for no reason. Liverpool only going to sign Nunes if Mane departs. That's the general understanding, but it will not be at any cost. That is what has been stressed a lot today. We are not getting involved in any sort of bidding war. We are not chasing him. We are not fighting off interest from other clubs. If he wants to come to us, if we can get him on the money that we want to invest on him, then we'll go for him. If not, see you later. And that will again feed into this whole Moneyball thing. You know, when should we just go ham? When should we just go for a player and try to break the bank, essentially? Is Nunes the right kind of player to do that on? A lot of people think it's, Jude Bellingham next summer is the person that we'd go for. But even that, I think, is quite a risky move, and we can talk about that, of course, as well. In other contract talks, so we've got James Milner, but Joe Gomez is another one. Not much has changed, but we are talking to him. He's still got two years left on his deal, but we're already talking to him and his representatives in order to work out a new deal. Favourite sandwich? It's a BLT. It's a BLT. But this is a serious show. No, I'm joking. We'll have a laugh. Oxlade-Chamberlain as well is being allowed to leave. The news I've wanted to hear, that the most important transfer this summer, absolutely. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. It's over. Let's get him out. Let's get some of the money back. We won't make a profit on him, I'm pretty sure. It'd be interesting to see where he goes, though. That is something that I am interested to see. And Gavi, another player we've been heavily linked with for a while. His contract's running out. No more, it seems. but there's lots of twists and turns on this one. It feels like everything's changing from week to week. We're in for him, we're not. He's signing a new contract, we're not. The latest is that he's going to sign a new contract with €1 billion release clause, and we'll talk about that, of course, because it's not quite as bombastic as you may think it is. Thank you, Jen, for the donation. Much appreciated. I don't want to come across as a beg, everyone, but the super chats have been turned off for ages without our knowing. So if you fancy super chatting with a lovely comment like Jen has, by all means do it. Sometimes, not at the minute, sometimes we get quite a lot of comments and I don't get through to everybody. So if you'd like to make sure that you are definitely seen and make sure that I get your opinion, get your question read out, then please do feel free to leave a super chat. But it's by no means mandatory. Matthias, hope you are doing well, and everybody else as well. Mohammed earlier. Frankie de Jong forced to leave Barcelona this summer. I haven't actually kept track with that, because I mean, we're not particularly linked with him. It seems like if he's going to go somewhere in the Premier League, it's probably Manchester United. But, you know, Mohammed, you're probably more in the know on that than me. I don't really follow Man United transfer news until it's sort of over the line. Count You Never Walk Alone, thank you very much for joining as well. And thank you to everybody who is just watching as well. Feel free to get involved in the live chat if you would like to. But you can also leave a like on this video. That massively helps us out. And if you happen to be new, if this is your first time on the LFC Transfer Room, first of all, welcome. Very, very much. It's great to see you. Great to hang out with you. Please do subscribe to the channel for all of your Liverpool content. We go live daily at 7:30, and today we had 4 other bloody videos posted. So that's 5 videos in one day. 5 for the price of 1 with us. So please do stick around for that. Chuckle501 says, of all the forwards we've been linked to, who do you think is the most realistic? To be honest, I didn't think I'd be saying this, but right now I think Nunes is the most realistic. It's the only real concrete interest that we've had confirmed, and by confirmed I mean Paul Joyce has mentioned it. So let's just jump straight in. We'll save the Moneyball chat for the end, the title of the video, the main event necessarily. We'll start with the Nunes news. We'll work through some of the other topics as well. I'll get all of your questions in, and then we'll talk about Moneyball, because it's something that I'm very passionate. I'm not passionate about Moneyball, but I'm passionate about talking about it and exploring exactly what it means and exactly how successful it makes us. So as I said, with Nunes, we are not going to enter a bidding war. We are not going to be held to ransom, and I'm not speaking as a spokesman of the club on this one necessarily. I'm just putting out what's been said, but I'm interested to hear what you guys think about that. And as a bit of a teaser for the whole Moneyball debate, how much more can we afford to not just break the bank on players a little bit? It sets a bad precedent. Is Nunes really that guy? Is he really the one that we need to be, you know, breaking records for necessarily? Because it seems like if we are really realistic about getting him, we would have to break some of our records. We probably have to go over what we paid for Van Dijk and Alisson. I'm trying to think who else. Are they our records? Am I being really thick? But, you know, we're going to have to get close to or break some records to bring Nunes in. Is he that guy? Is he that guy? I don't think anybody can 100% tell me that he is that guy. I know it's not our money. I know it's not our money that gets spent on these players, so it's easy for us to say, well, just go out and bloody buy him. But it sets a precedence, doesn't it? If we go and buy Nunes for 100 million, everybody else suddenly bumps up their prices, and other players who normally would have been affordable become unaffordable and not worth it. And that's the whole principle with our wage structure as well. If you just automatically hand out Salah 400k a week, the whole wage structure that we've worked so hard on just suddenly goes tits up, and you've got you know, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain knocking on your door for 250 grand a week, or Curtis Jones banging on your door suddenly wanting 200 grand a week out of nowhere, you know. So it becomes quite it sets a precedent, and it's not one that I think Nunes deserves. I mean, we've got to remember it's really one really good season, What I'd say about him, and I think what most of you guys know about, some of you will know even more than me about Nunes, his link-up play is not great, but in and around the box, he can be pretty lethal. He's got that big game mentality about him. He got goals against Liverpool, Bayern Munich, was it Ajax, and somebody else in the Lisbon derby, I think he scored as well. So he's got that big game mentality, which is great, especially when it comes to the fact that we haven't scored in 3 finals this season. So maybe that's something worth investing in. Again, not 100 million. Anissa Akhtar agrees with me on that one. Louis, I don't think Nunes is worth 100 million. I've heard a lot about how awful his first touch is, and apparently his link-up play is poor. Well, yeah, those are the current drawbacks. Can that be coached into him? Potentially. County Never Walk Alone says dream signing would be Lewandowski. Reunite him with his mentor. Do you think he's got another season in the Premier League in him? Do you think he's got what it takes? You know, I think a lot of us praise the Bundesliga because of the way that the clubs are run with that, 50 plus 1% ownership. I don't know if that's just certain clubs or if that's all of them. But they've got a general model where the fans are heavily involved with the running of even the top clubs, Bayern Munich, Dortmund, right down to the grassroots. However, it's it is a farmers' league. The Bundesliga, I hate to say it, we criticise Ligue 1, the French league. The Bundesliga is heading that way, if not already there. They are really struggling to find a way to make it competitive. They're struggling to find a way for anybody to catch up with Bayern Munich. I mean, Dortmund have made some brilliant signings this summer, but they've already lost Haaland. Next year they might lose Bellingham. They can never really get that momentum going of having a core that's sustainable and sticks with it. He is playing on easy mode. He is playing on easy mode to an extent, Lewandowski. Maybe he can do it. Maybe he's got that in him. Maybe he can come to the Premier League and give us an amazing year. I think if he could, it would only be another year. There's no way he could go for 2 or 3 at this level. And we saw it in the Champions League. Yes, they smashed an Austrian team, 6-0 was it? But then as soon as they came up against genuinely half-decent European opposition, they faltered. And I don't want to call myself a chief scout or anything, but I went to watch Munich this season. They faced Leverkusen, who aren't that great. They faced Leverkusen at the Allianz Arena, and they were dreadful. I mean, I saw Müller score an own goal. I know one game isn't representative, but it was pretty dire. Leverkusen weren't all that either. They had 1 or 2 decent players. All they had really was pacing behind, and then when they got knackered, they didn't have that either. And Munich just really disappointed me and didn't offer me what I thought they necessarily would. Maybe you're entitled to disagree. You're absolutely entitled to disagree. Maybe I am taking him on too lightly. Anissa says, Louis, why aren't Liverpool seriously interested in Nkunku? He is so similar to Mane. Don't get it. Well, maybe that's part of it. I don't know. Maybe we don't want similar players. It feels like a change is coming, and I talked about it a little bit in the previous video in terms of how this is a massive summer, how we're going to witness another step on the evolution. We could look to play a 4-2-4 a lot more regularly this season coming up. So maybe we don't want to be signing players similar to what we've got. Maybe we need those difference makers, similar to Luis Diaz. You can argue he's got similar traits to certain players, Jota, Firmino, Mane rolled into one in some regards. But ultimately, he's giving us something that none of our other attackers have, which is that ability to beat a man on pure skill and that 5 yards of pace to get around a player, cut inside. And as I said, with Diaz, we still haven't seen the best of him. I'm pretty sure of that. But yeah, that's Lewandowski ticked off the list, and that's what I had on Nunes. Sticking with Bayern, though, Bayern are planning to submit a new and improved bid for Sadio Mane. So they recently offered It's like 25 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons, and that was rejected. However, they're now going to offer 35 million euros, so about 30 million quid guaranteed, plus another 5 million in add-ons again. And this package, apparently, according to everyone who's reported it, they're saying this would meet Liverpool's demands, which is, it's a crazy world that we live in. You know, that's £15 million more than we got for Jordan Ibe. No, that's £10 million more than we got for Jordan Ibe. Or 15, or 10 to 15 million more than we got for Jordan Ibe. 10 to 15 more than we got for Dominic Solanke. And like, what, 15 million more than we got for Brad Smith. And this is Mane we're talking about. You know, 30 million would be like, well, it'd be a bloody good return on Oxlade-Chamberlain. It would be a good, who would it be a good return on? Like, I don't even know. Yeah, like Minamino, it'd be bloody fantastic to get 30 million for him. And we're talking about Sadio Mane. I know he's only got a year left on his contract, but I don't understand. I don't understand why we're setting our bar so low. It's so early in the transfer window as well. If we can hold out, we can afford to play a longer game here. We're 2 weeks since the end of the season, and it's their second bid. They're obviously prepared to pay more. They are fleecing us somewhat. I don't know, maybe we don't need the money. Maybe that's the big surprise. We don't actually need the money. Just whilst I've got so many of you lovely folks here and the live chat is absolutely booming, please do like the video. It really helps us out. And also, if you are new, please do subscribe. We, in my opinion, we're the best place to be for your Liverpool content. We go live every single evening at 7:30 for all your transfer news, daily news, analysis, all that good stuff. And of course, during the season we have watch-alongs, match reaction, all that good stuff as well. So this is your absolute place to be. And today we posted five videos, including this one, in one day. And that's not a rare occurrence either. We've got content 4 days every single day. So make sure you do press that subscribe button and get involved in the LFC transfer room. But a little bit more on that Sadio Mane story. I don't want to keep on repeating myself. It feels like he's leaving with a bit more grace about him than Salah. He's waited till the end of the season. We've not heard a peep from him until now. And he's kind of alluded to the fact that he wants to go. He still hasn't said it out loud. He has not said it out loud yet. But it all points towards he does want to go. And I think that's blindingly obvious by all of this news surrounding him and bids from Munich. Those comments that he made, I don't think we've properly addressed those. But those comments that he made when he was representing Senegal a week or two ago, he mentioned, the Senegal fans want me to leave, etc. For anyone who missed that or is still fuming about it, I just want to clarify that it was not taken out of context, but it was lost in translation a bit. It was lost in irony. He was having a joke around it. It's a very odd statement to make if you're being completely serious. Like, why would 70-80% of Senegalese people want him to leave Liverpool? That doesn't make sense. But nothing to get too upset about. I think a lot of people were miffed when they first heard about it and took it quite personally when they didn't need to. But at least we're all on the same page about what irony is, and people can leave Klopp alone for making those comments about AFCON. Extending on the Mane story, Pulisic. We keep getting linked with Pulisic. Everyone in the live chat, please let me know what you think about Christian bloody Pulisic. Because I do not get it. He has hardly played for Chelsea. Unless my memory is completely letting me down, I hardly remember him playing. When he's played, he's looked okay. He can't bloody score most of the time. He had so many gilt-edged chances against us, I think, and was unable to find the target on most occasions. So I don't really see it. He's a terrible injury record. I know that we've improved some with Keita and Matip and Thiago and Fabinho with our new medical department or new physio, whoever it was. I don't know why you try to add to that though by bringing in someone who you definitely know has injury problems. It just doesn't make much sense to me. And if you bring him in any sort of... If you bring him in as a replacement for Mane, it's a poison chalice, isn't it? With those injuries, with the amount of chances he's missed, it wouldn't take long. If we brought him in, it wouldn't take long for people to get a bit frustrated if things went wrong and wonder, well, why didn't we just buy someone better? Why did we go and overspend on an English rival player? I know he's not English, he's American, but I mean Chelsea are an English rival, so we're gonna get fleeced for him as well. Oliver says, I'd rather get Dembele than Pulisic. Well, that's what the whole circle is. It's Mane goes to Munich, we get Pulisic so that Chelsea can go and get Dembele. Well, if we're going to sign someone with injury problems, I'd rather it be Dembele, because he's going to be a free agent, isn't he? So why on earth would we go out and buy Pulisic? Just do what we did with Luis Diaz and Tottenham, just storm in ahead and pinch him for a little bit. I know he'd probably command quite high wages, and maybe that's why we've not been linked to him as much, as well as the injuries. But it's slightly less risk, isn't it? And you could always get brilliant reward if we were able to get those under control. Mike says Dembele also has injury problems and bad attitude. Again, some of you will probably know more about this than me, so I'll take your word for it. But in terms of Pulisic, I think a lot of people in the live chat are agreeing with me. Matthias says Heung-min Son. I mean, it's a dream, isn't it? It's a bit of a dream. Heung-min Son. I genuinely think if he wasn't stuck behind Kane's transfer rumours every bloody summer, he would have moved on years ago. I know he's only been there a few years, but he would have moved on a few summers ago, because he has been consistently fantastic and underrated. So you could have probably worked out a half-decent deal for him up until now, but now he's got that golden boot with Salah. It's already a much more impossible task. I'd love to get Heung-min Son. I'd love to get him in. That's what I was saying. Sorry, I keep on reading stuff and then I just forget what I'm bloody on about. So please do like the video and please do subscribe for more professional content from me. He would have moved on ages ago, because Kane, every bloody summer, it's will he stay, will he go? So Tottenham go into hyper defensive mode and they think, well, if we're going to lose Kane, we can't lose any more attackers, because we need to bring some in as well to even come close to replacing him. So let's make sure we keep Son under kid gloves and nobody touches him. And the whole Kane saga just distracts everybody from Son. I mean, no one remembers who Son is when the season bloody starts again. It's always, once his goals start to chalk up, everyone goes, oh, bloody hell, that Heung-min Son good, isn't he? But, as soon as the season ends, everyone bloody forgets about him. He's quite underrated, and I'll admit I'm in that category of people who have underrated him for a very long time, even though whenever he gets a good run of games, he does just seem to consistently score goals, and that's nothing to be sneezed at in today's market. There's not too many of those about for decent deals. I mean, what a deal for Heung-min Son would look like, I have no idea. That the numbers we'd be potentially talking. He's in his mid to late 20s, isn't he? So it's not like he's signing a 23, 24-year-old, but again, he's in his peak, isn't he? He's in his prime. I'm sure he's probably signed a new deal soon. Anissa says, I've wanted Son at Liverpool for years, and Faz Ali says, Son has a contract until 25, 26. Exactly. So that's not going to happen. Lautaro Martinez is another option. Martinelli. I mean, I think Martinelli is probably the most talked about player by Klopp that isn't a Liverpool player. He probably gets talked about more by Klopp than Klopp talks about some Liverpool players. He adores Martinelli, doesn't he? Oh, Son's 30. See, so is my knowledge. I thought he was like 28, but no, he's just hit his 30s. So already said, oh, hang on, Idicent says 29. Right, can I get a third party to confirm Heung-min Son's age, please? And the LFC transfer room recommends Bukayo Saka. Again, I don't know. I don't know all this stuff about Saka. Every time he comes up, I always say the same thing. I just assumed he was an Arsenal lad. I assumed he's going to be one of those players who's just at Arsenal for bloody years and then maybe leaves when he's 27, 28. I don't know why he would I don't know if he needs to move at this point in his career. I know they missed out on top 4, but he's a massive part of what they're doing. Does he need to move even to a fantastic club like ours? I don't necessarily know. Please do like the video, everybody. Please do subscribe if you're new as well. We're almost at 4,500 subscribers, which is bonkers. For those who are new, at the turn of the year, we were about 1,800. So January to June, we've got about, well, an extra 2,500 subscribers or something crazy. So thank you very much to everybody who has been with us for part of that journey. And if you are new, you're welcome aboard. Welcome aboard the LFC transfer room train, non-stop, to wherever you like, really. Oluwu says, I'd love Anthony from Ajax. Well, we can all sit here and name people. And that's, sorry, I'm not calling you out, not being rude. We could do that. We could do that all night. So let's move on to some of the other topics, and we can always come back to this as well. Saint Maximin, another one. Is he ready for that leap? Has he really proved himself enough? I don't know. For me, the jury's out on him, but we'll see. Raphinha. Someone that in January, you couldn't go a day without hearing about Raphinha. Most of the rest of the season, you couldn't go a week without hearing about Raphinha to Liverpool. It's definitely on. Klopp loves him. He's going to come in and add that final bit of sauce to the front line, even though we had Diaz. Well, it sounds like he is heavily in favour of a move to Barcelona, to the extent where he's willing to reject Liverpool. Now, I know Barcelona have a lot of problems, and it sounds like De Jong is going to be part of the cohort that moves on. I think Traore was only on loan, wasn't he? So he'll go back to Wolves. So they'll be getting a bit off the wage bill, getting some profit on De Jong probably. But Raphinha, his heart is set on Barcelona. You can see why. It makes sense. But, you know, that should, if that is anywhere near true, that should bury those rumours, because, you know, we're not going to sign someone who doesn't want to come to us as pretty much a first choice. You know, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they're probably the only two teams that can compete with us in terms of, I would turn down everybody else because I want to go to them. I think they're the only two teams who could nab a player off of us because of that fact, because the player wants that move specifically. You know, we saw with Luis Diaz, he was ready to go to Tottenham. We came in, he was like, oh hell yeah, yeah, sod Tottenham. I'm going up north. I'm going to Liverpool. I'm going to Merseyside. Did you see Vinicius Jr. have a fight with Richarlison at Brazil training? I hope that was serious. I hope that wasn't like a publicity stunt or a joke. But yeah, anyone who doesn't like Richarlison's good in my book. So I'm happy. I'm happy for Vinicius Jr. and I hope he gave it to him. Please do like the video. Please do subscribe, everybody. We'll keep going. I've still got lots to go through, and of course, any questions, any topics you'd like to discuss, absolutely more than welcome. Shame if Leeds went down, there'd be a £15 million release clause. A couple of you have mentioned that. So if they went down and that release clause became active, would you just sign him? Because some of you have said, well, he's not really worth it. I don't really like him. Inconsistent. But if there's a £15 million release clause, do you just go because it's too good of a bargain to potentially miss out on? Because it's easy? Or do you stop? Do you stop because it's it could take away from us going after a Nunes, after a real top quality world class striker or midfielder or wherever? Because that's what I always think when you see a good deal, because 15 million is still 15 million. It still takes away from whatever theoretical budget we had, and it's a position taken in the squad. So the question is, are we in for other players who are better? Because if you get Raphinha for 15 million, even though you've only spent 15, you're taking that squad space. You're not really going to go for another attacker. You're not going to go for a massive fee on another attacker, are you? So even though it's not a risk, as Anissa says, it still kind of is. Financially, it's not necessarily a risk, but in terms of the quality you're getting into the squad, in terms of the squad positions that you're filling, it is a slight risk. It is a slight risk. So you know, maybe sit on that, have a little think. Maybe we can come back to it towards the end of the video. Hylas says, be prepared that any player involved in a bid war like Nunes will most likely not end up at Liverpool. That is the way the cookie crumbles. Yep, as I said earlier, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying what's come out in the last couple of days. There's no... There's nothing... there's nothing there. We're not going to get involved in something like that. We're not going... I don't know if that's just laziness. If Julian Ward just can't bloody be asked, picking up the phone over and over again, if he can't bother dealing with an auction for a player. In terms of other... Let's look at some outbounds now. We focused on a few stories, major stories, Mane outbound as well. But some other ones, as I said, Oxlade-Chamberlain will be allowed to leave. And that's coming from the man himself, Paul Joyce. We didn't need Paul Joyce to confirm that. It was pretty much written in the stars ever since he trudged off the pitch in a bit of a strop, was it, against Nottingham Forest? Before then, it was up with me anyway. I've never, you know, I wanted him to do well. I wanted him to succeed. But if I'm being honest with myself, and I think if some of you guys are being honest with yourselves, he was never brilliant. He was never great with us. Everyone harks back to this supposed golden era of Oxlade-Chamberlain at Liverpool, you know, when he scored a couple of belters against Man City and has been trying to replicate it ever bloody since with very limited success, and it has pissed me off all season. And that's one thing I'll be glad to see go. Yeah, it was versus Forest. I really don't think. And then he picked up that injury against Roma, and then since then that period has kind of become this golden era, supposedly, for Oxlade-Chamberlain. I really don't think he was ever brilliant. Even in that time, I think he was average. He got those goals. It really made up for pretty mediocre performances. David Murphy says Ox hasn't been the same after the Roma. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's drawn away from him even further. But before then, I still just didn't. I wanted to like him. And that's one thing about me. I know I give Ox a hard time. I know it feels like I've got an agenda about him. But he has been here for a while, and he has not delivered for a while. At the start, for the first 2-3 years, I was desperate for him to succeed, to come back from that injury and prove everyone wrong, prove he was a brilliant player. But deep down, I never truly believed it, I don't think. And that's what this season has shown me. So I'm more than happy to let him go, try and find some football somewhere else in the mid-tables, lower echelons of the Prem. Maybe he'd move abroad, I don't know. We have outgrown Ox a good few years ago. He would have been a decent player for us. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, decent. That was always his peak. Decent. And I don't mean that to come across as rude, because at the end of the day, he was a Premier League and Champions League footballer and winner. So that's nothing to be sniffed at. But he was always just decent for us. And this is, again, where maybe it is agenda, maybe it is biases, because I stick up for Takumi Minamino a lot, and some will probably rate him in the same category of how good he is as Oxlade-Chamberlain. But I think we should keep Taki, because I think he is a great squad option. I think he provides more. He's average. He's at best decent. And at least we kind of know what he's good at. He's got an eye for goal. He's got a brilliant eye for goal when you put him in the right positions. David Murphy says Ox, an in-between player, not really a centre mid or a winger. Exactly. How can you be approaching the back end of your career and still not know what your best position is? I think that's bonkers. And that's... You can't have someone like that in a title winning, in a potential quadruple winning squad. It just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. How can you not know? He doesn't know. He probably prefers himself as a centre mid, I feel like. But he hasn't got that. He hasn't got that 360 sense. He's not a particularly fantastic presser. He's definitely not a great interceptor or tackler. He's nowhere near our best passer in the midfield, in the attack, in defence. There's not many people he beats in terms of his eye for a decent pass. I don't know. Taki, on the other hand, hell yes, let's keep him. Luckily, it's been quiet so far. Luckily, it's been pretty bloody quiet. Anissa, don't get why we're looking to sell. Well, I don't think we are, because as I said, it's been very quiet surrounding Minamino at this point. For me, it just comes down to whether he wants to stay. Klopp, I think the only thing that has been mentioned about him is that Klopp has said if he wants to go, I'm not going to stand in his way. And that goes for everybody. But I think for him, it's a special case because he has been great for us, but he just hasn't had that game time that he really needs and deserves. He deserved more game time than he got with the goals and the moments that he scored for us. You know, without him, not just the goals, the amount of goals scored, but the moments, you know, that winner, that equaliser against Leicester in the Carabao Cup took us to penalties. We wouldn't have got through without that moment from him and in such a high pressure situation. Minamino is worth more to this squad than the money, says David. Well, that's a nice way to think about it, and I think there is I think the players do love Minamino in like that, you know, little brother, underappreciated guy kind of way. Mohammed says Lukaku was a flop signing last summer for Chelsea. Yeah, well, yeah, I guess you're right. I agree. Given his limited play time, Taki has been productive, and the way Ox shoots over, he ought to try rugby. Exactly. So. Yeah, thanks for confirming my biases, guys. I thought I was alone in that one, and I thought I'd get called out on it sooner or later. But no, they are different players. Ox, incredibly frustrating, will have a decent game in a blue moon, requires way too much rhythm. You know, it's fair enough if he is a rhythm player. He needs to play games to get better. But it's not worth it for the output that you get when he's at his best. He just doesn't add anything. He covered whilst the boys were at AFCON. Thank you very much. He scored a couple of worldies. Thank you very much. But as a squad option, just really doesn't offer anything anywhere near as much as Takumi Minamino. And that's on that. Hyla says the Ox is also more of an attacking midfielder, and Klopp prefers those grinders, hard-working, tackling beasts. Yeah, I mean, I used to think of Oxlade-Chamberlain as maybe similar to Jesse Lingard in that he'd benefit from playing on a team that is much more on the counter, where when he gets the ball, he's got much more of an open space in front of him. But I don't know if he'd even suit that. I don't think he's got the coolness to pick the right pass in a counter-attacking situation. I just don't know what he's good at. I hate to be so negative about a Liverpool player because he still is one. But when he goes, the gloves are coming off on Oxlade-Chamberlain. If we ever face him again, I hope he doesn't bloody score against us because that would be embarrassing. But I will be ripping into him. Tommy says, think he'd be fine replacing Gallagher at Palace. But Gallagher is such a workhorse. He's such a fantastic box-to-box midfielder. And again, that's something Oxlade-Chamberlain isn't. That's another role he can't fulfill with us. He ain't box-to-box. He ain't got the stamina. He ain't got the work rate. He ain't got that kind of desire to get up and down the pitch as regularly and as frequently as the likes of Gallagher ever did at Palace. So, I don't know. Just quickly on Gallagher, I don't think he should stay. I don't think he should stay at Chelsea. I think if Crystal Palace come calling again, either for a loan or a permanent, he should go. I don't think he'll get used anywhere near properly in a Thomas Tuchel side or in the monolith that is Chelsea. They've got a terrible record with their youth. I know Mason Mount is a bit of an exception. You know, Tammy Abraham, look at the way they treated him, and the countless others, you know, academy prospects, the players they hoovered up from the Championship and the lower echelons of the Prem and never really got game time at all and were sold on for peanuts. You know, Chelsea is a horrible club for youth development in general, especially in terms of actually being allowed to break into that first team. I know most top clubs aren't that great at it, but Chelsea in particular, the way that they stockpiled, they went through this really horrible phase of stockpiling players. I remember this one player especially, I think his name was Josh McEachran. He was at Middlesbrough and we were in for him, but he went to Chelsea instead, and no one's heard his name since. He's down in the Football League somewhere. Oliver says Ox will fit Newcastle. Is he really a Newcastle at that level still? I think they'd want to do better. I know that they want to do it cautiously and not just throw money at it the way that other clubs have, you know, Everton. They want to be a bit more careful. The way that Man City first tried it, you know, with like Robinho and Sean Wright-Phillips, etc. But I think they should be aiming for higher than Oxlade-Chamberlain. I mean, if he goes anywhere in the Prem, it would be a Brighton, maybe even Fulham, maybe one of those promoted teams might look to bring him in. Maybe he'd be a good statement of intent there. Matthias, didn't Abraham say he wants Liverpool? Yeah, I'm assuming that's a joke. I know players receive a lot of media training, and I'm sure you wouldn't just announce. I don't know why we'd be in for him. He's had one good season in Italy. Fair play to him. Let's see what else he does before we, rush to bring that in. Let's move on a little bit. Of course, we've got to talk about. Well, have we spoken about James Milner yet? We spoke about him on a stream earlier, so I won't go too in depth on it. I think there's lots of McEachran's about, Matthias. I think there's lots of McEachran's about. Maybe he is in Division 1 now, but I don't know. Oh, God, I hope my face wasn't too bad. I'm glad it's small on the screen and not filling it up, otherwise that would be quite embarrassing. Let's just briefly talk about James Milner. He signed a 1-year contract extension, and apparently he's taken a wage reduction. We don't know that for fact, so I won't go too in on that fact. I think that's quite bizarre. Fair play to him. I didn't think he would do something like that if it is true. Again, we don't know if it is. So fair play. And I think a lot of people are going to be angry. A lot of people are going to be happy because of his professionalism. Some will be upset because of how old he is and how slow he is. Make your own minds up on that one. I'm not too fussed. He's a great leader. He can do the job in multiple positions when we need him to. And I don't know what people are so afraid of. Klopp's not going to start him in 30 bloody games next year, is he? He's not going to start that many games. We've got 5 substitutes. We need that squad. He's a brilliant player to bring on as the 5th substitute in the 80th minute when you're 2-1 up or 3-1 up, and you need to hold out, grind out, get some fresh legs on the pitch to run around, put some tackles in, and pick up a yellow card and give away a free kick outside the box. Milner's perfect for that. So let's keep him around. Milner said that the parade showed him how unique this club is. I think the parade was massive for a lot of players. Trent said how big it is for him. Jota couldn't believe it. Thiago couldn't believe it. I think as much as, outside, fans of other clubs, other countries want to laugh at us for, just parading about those 2 trophies down there. It was a massive statement. It's a massive statement. And if it's only us who recognise it, then, that's all that matters, isn't it? If we understand the importance of it. Tommy says, Athletic reported the wage cut, but if you don't care about that, then fairs. Oh, Athletic reported it. What? Okay. Well, fair enough if they did. No, I care, Tommy. Don't worry, I care. And David says, delighted Milner is staying. Leadership is so rare and should be held on to. Milner has never let us down. And Milner said no to 2-year contract deals from other clubs. I bet you one of them was Leeds. I'd be stunned if Leeds didn't at least try and entertain him signing for them. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. If he rejects them to stay at us, that is kind of cool. And props to him. I like it. It's nice if a player decides to retire at your club, doesn't it? And that's what it feels like now. Because how old will he be at the end of next season? He can't be playing in the Premier League after that, surely. Or is he going to be here until he's 50 as like a player coach or something? Hope we're signing Kunku. He'll be so good. £60 million will be a bargain for him. Well, we've got another Transfer Central on Wednesday, so I'm sure a few more of these discussions about these players will be had. One more, not inbound, but internal stuff is Joe Gomez. And I think I've mentioned this. I think the transfer room has mentioned this on a few streams. We are in talks to renew Joe Gomez's contract. I didn't realise at the time, and this is why I want to bring it up, he's still got 2 years left. So I wouldn't necessarily expect anything to be signed this summer. It could drag on. It seems to be a bit of a running theme with us, and again, we can talk about that in the Moneyball discussion shortly. Is that worth it? Is that sustainable to leave things until people have a year left on their contracts? Because that's what bloody Arsenal did, and that's how they lost a lot of key players for free or for very cheap to rivals as well. So are we falling into that trap a little bit? Will we retain him this summer? Who knows? But I'm expecting that to maybe drag on a bit in the background because it won't be anybody's particular priority. But in terms of Joe Gomez, I'm thrilled if he's keen on it as well. I think that's great. I've always said if he really knows what's good for him, what's good for his career, he'll stay with Klopp as long as he can. if it's another season or two of hardly playing, a bit part player, filling in at right back, then maybe look to move on. But a season after a horrific, potentially career-threatening injury, worse things could happen than being a part of a cup-winning side, nearly winning the Premier League, final of the Champions League. There's worse places to be as a bit part player. He'll want to build on that, of course, and I'm sure that him and Klopp will be sitting down to talk over that in depth. David says Gomez is a great squad player, versatile, and as long as he's happy to stay, I'd keep him. Thank you to everybody who is watching and still watching. If you haven't done so yet, please do like the video, and if you are new, please subscribe to the channel. We're nearly at 4,500 subscribers, which is crazy. If you press the bell notification, you'll get notified every single time we go live, which is every night at 7:30, but we also have videos every day in the meantime as well. Today, for example, including this one, we've had 5 bloody videos go up on our channel, so plenty of Liverpool content to see you through this off-season period. Not long until the players are back, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Can't come soon enough. But you can stay here and deal with us and interact and get involved in this lovely community that we've got in here. Lots of these people are regulars. I see them almost every day in the live chat, which is great to see. And you can be a part of that. And you can also join our Discord server in the video description. So like, subscribe, turn on the bell notification, and join Discord, link in the video description. Thank you very much. Tommy says, I think we need to extend Gomez if for no other reason than Matip might well need replacing soon. Would suck to have to bring in 2 new third, fourth choice centre-backs in the same consecutive windows. Yeah, exactly. Long-term planning does need to be had. Thank you very, very much for the subscription, Sayan. Much appreciated. Thank you for taking my advice on board, and I look forward to having you in future as part of our streams. Keita doesn't deserve a new contract. Sorry, that was a bit out of the blue. That is another topic, probably for another day, because we've covered quite a lot, and I do want to talk about Moneyball as well, but sod it. On Keita, yeah, it probably looks like he's signing a new contract, doesn't it? And let me know what you guys think about that in the live chat. We should open talks when players have 2 years left, in my opinion. I'm sure we did do that with Salah, because this has been raging on all year. And that's what I mean, though. Do we need to just be a bit more decisive and just decide? Are we going to give them what they want? Are we going to seriously negotiate? Or are we going to be a bit silly and drag it out a little bit? Who knows? Gavi. Barcelona's Gavi. This is the last person I want to talk about before a bit of a Moneyball chat. Bloody Gavi. Every week, almost every other day, it feels like this saga is dragging on. One minute it looks like it's picking up, a bit of momentum, a bit of heat. The next minute, nope, we're nowhere near him. We're not interested. We're not going for it. The very, very latest is that we're probably giving up on him. It looks like, despite all of Barcelona's problems with money and keeping hold of players and letting players go, Gavi is a priority for them, and you can see why. And they will be signing him up with a new contract with a €1 billion release clause, which sounds crazy. However, it's not. It's not. It's Spanish law that they have to have some sort of release clause, so you can't just hold on to them. There has to be something in their contract that will allow them to go if a club meets it. Barcelona, most Spanish clubs ignored it though and have just started putting bombastic sums of money up like this. It used to be like 200 million, 500 million, 700 million. But, inflation, you never know what people might throw at a player if they really want him. Imagine putting a 300 million release clause on someone because you think that'll stop any interest, and then PSG come in and meet the clause. So they've set it at €1 billion, but that doesn't really mean anything. They just have to do it for law. But if there was a bid on the table, they would still acknowledge it, and they'll set their own sum for it. But a guaranteed release is part of law in Barcelona, in Spain. Sorry. But it seems like we've given up. We've given up the ghost on that one, so we're going to have to move on. So that's Tchouaméni and probably Gavi out the window as well. Which brings me nicely, very, very nicely. Let's bring out the FSG discussion. I'm going to start talking. I'm going to get my points of view across. But in the meantime, everybody who's been watching, everybody in the live chat, just start giving me your thoughts. Giving me your thoughts on FSG, on Moneyball, on our recruitment strategy. And then I'll have my say, and then we'll come together and we'll talk it out a little bit. And we'll have a little bit of back and forth. So, the title of the video, the main event, the WrestleMania main event is here. Moneyball. This is what FSG have adopted. It's not revolutionary. It's not evolutionary. This isn't particularly new. But you would say that FSG have brought it into the limelight more than anybody else. It's often very, very oversimplified into being a buy to sell, a sell to buy. I always get those the wrong way around. Into a sell to buy process, and it's buying low and selling high. Now there's a lot of that involved, but it's a bit cleverer than that. I think with fans, it's very easy. As I said near the start of this video, it's easy for us to say it's not our money. They're millionaires. They've got the resources. Just go out and buy the players that are going to win us titles and Champions Leagues and quadruples exactly. And we just need to do it. We have to do it because Man City are getting away from us. It feels like, some are saying, but they've been getting away from us for years, and we're still, within a point of them, if not winning the league off of them. And they still haven't touched the Champions League final, winning the Champions League either. So plenty of thoughts coming in already on FSG, so please do get them in. Please like the video as well, don't forget, and subscribe if you are new, much like Sayan did earlier, which is much appreciated. It will always divide opinion. It will always divide opinion. For me, I ask myself, how do I want my club to be run in terms of actively building towards winning things? In recent times, there's three main clubs. There's three main clubs that are winning things very consistently. It's become two. It's become Liverpool, Man City, but the other one is Chelsea. Chelsea, up until we came along, until Klopp got us sorted out, were the ones really keeping up with Man City and winning the odd title, winning a few FA Cups, etc., and of course the Champions Leagues as well. So let's look at these three clubs. So we are a team that our recruitment strategy, I know Hyla's saying we don't use Moneyball anymore, but there's remnants of it, right? Semantics aside, there's remnants of that process. We send our scouts out with a very detailed analysis of and profile of the kind of players that we want, the kind of stats in a player that we're looking for before we go in and start negotiating, start seeing if there's interest, and start trying to buy these players. We give them a pretty rigid, pretty strict list of what we're looking for. They go out and they find someone. I'm not saying a nobody. I'm not saying someone who's completely hidden, because that's not the case. We knew who Jota was. We knew who Salah was. But players who are performing well. They're doing well at an okay club. Roma, Wolves, they're okay. They're doing all right. They're doing fine. We look into their game a bit more. We find what we're looking for. We find those, the expected goals, the touches in the opposition box, the amount of shots attempted, stuff that we can work with, stuff that the coaching setup, the stuff that Klopp, Pep Linders can work with. And then we go out and buy them. We go and buy them for reasonable fees, a lot of them anyway, unless we know we're going to get guaranteed success like an Alisson or a Van Dijk. And I guess that's where, again, people are saying, should we break the bank? But that's only on certain people. Would Bellingham be that? Potentially. So we go out and find our Jotas. We go out and find our Andy Robertsons. People forget about him. 8 million bloody pounds. Matip, free transfer. James Milner, free transfer. Who else is there? Thiago, very decent for the type of player that he is. I know Fabinho was relatively expensive. And then, of course, Salah, Mane, Jota, and Diaz. I know they're all 30, 50 million quid, which is still a lot. But in the world of football, for the output that they've then had, it's peanuts. Now, my big thing is, before I get on to what you guys think, is that sustainable? It obviously has been up until now, and people will attribute that to different things. A lot of people are quick to dismiss it and say, no, without Klopp, these players would be nowhere near where they are. Klopp's a magician, Klopp's a wizard, Klopp's got that secret formula. And I just think it's too unrealistic. You know, never... They always say don't meet your heroes. I mean, I think Klopp's maybe a bit different because he's such a lovely guy. But there's nobody in this world is a single miracle worker. You know, you can be the face. Klopp is the face of that, and he's got the personality, the charisma, the cult of personality to go with it. And it's brilliant to feel represented by somebody like him. But there's everybody in the background. There's everybody that FSG has put in place, masters of their industry, masters of their craft, the recruitment, the analysts, the physios, the bloody tea ladies, everybody is part of a well-oiled machine, and Klopp is the face of that. So for me, I wouldn't attribute it just to him being a bloody wizard and waving his wand and making players world class. It's all in there. It's part of that Moneyball. It's finding those players who have somewhat untapped talent and you know, reducing the amount of output in terms of money that you have to put into these players, and that feeds into our wage structure. You can bring in a Salah from Roma, wouldn't have been earning anything gargantuan, put him on a decent salary here, and then he's giving us amazing numbers at not a completely ludicrous fee. Obviously, that's now running into its own problems, and that's, again, part of it. How sustainable is this? Someone said we're not falling behind, and I agree, and this is where that incredibly reactionary reaction has come in. End of the season, we've missed out by the skin of our teeth on the two big uns. We got to the Champions League final, half an hour to go, they get the goal that wins it. Should have been offside, by the way. Benzema was offside and interfered with play. Not salty at all. And a gargantuan Aston Villa collapse means that that Man City pips us to the title by a point. That is all that stopped us from winning a 20th league title and a 7th Champions League. So on that regard, I will always sort of jump to FSG's defence, because since this season's ended and since we haven't already signed 2 or 3 world-class players, it feels like we're getting into that territory again of, oh, FSG are terrible, they're not investing enough, we need to bring in money, we need to spend money on big players to take us to that next level. But what is the next level? We're recording, apart from in a horrifically injury-hit season, we're recording consecutively 90-plus point seasons. There's only so many more points we could bloody win. And in however many years the Premier League has been going, 75%, 80%, 85% of the time, those point tallies would have been more than enough to win us a title with games to go. It's only because there is a Manchester City side who are owned by a nation state, a horrific nation state, may I add. You know, people disappear for liking the wrong people, and you know, not going to get too into that in case I disappear as well. But do you want to be owned by that? Is football, you know, when an incident happens, when something, you know, the Ukraine crisis, when a racist incident happens, when a violent incident happens in or around a football game, we're very quick to then say, oh, you know, football's just a game, this is real life. Well, does that only stop because it's not in your field of view? And now I know I'm going to bring myself back, so I'm getting into a rant on Man City, and that's not what this is about. But that's just something to think about. They spend all that money, and that would be great if FSG did that, but you only get that amount of money. You can only spend that amount of money somehow, despite FFP, if you're owned by a nation state that does the things with its track record in terms of human rights. So that's just something to think about and something to keep on reminding yourself about. And they are the only thing that has stopped us from almost complete domination of the Premier League. And I would say the Champions League, but they haven't won one yet, so they're not really stopping us in that regard. So whenever the criticism's quick to mount on FSG for not investing enough, I do get on defensive mode about that. So I think that's ridiculous. I think, how can you say, you know, we're not at that next level? How much further do you... Because Haaland's only going to take Man City an extra 1 or 2 points. Because they're already winning so many games. There's limited points you can earn in a season, that they can't go beyond that. So Haaland may be a blinding success, but he's not going to add that much. Maybe they'll get another Centurion. Hopefully bloody not. I hope I'm not cursing that. Alan says, at the end of the day, we know who wins, not the team that comes second. Yeah, but that's such a football Twitter way of looking at things, Alan. It's context. There's context to it. If we want to beat Man City, you know, we've got to find our own way of doing it, not the way that they're doing it. But again, right, let's focus. Let's round this up and let's focus a little bit. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. I'm going for an hour now. There's not long left, I promise you. I'm getting to the point, and then we'll have a quick discussion about it, and then we'll call it a night. Is it sustainable to continuously hope, and it's always hope, every transfer you make comes with risk and comes with hope that they'll be successful. There's no guarantees. You could sign Mbappe and he might be bloody dreadful. Unlikely, but he might be. Is it sustainable to continuously go after players who are, as of yet, unproven? So Salah was unproven until he came to us. Jota was unproven until he came to us. And Diaz was unproven until he came to us. And that goes for many others as well. It's worked so far. There's been a couple of, I don't want to say failures. I mean, Marco Grujic never really got a game. Minamino wasn't exactly what we thought. Naby Keita, a lot of people think he wasn't what we thought he would be. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 others. There's sustainability, but nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. Eventually, this streak that we're on of making great signings, you feel like it just will come to an end. It just will. And that might be because we'll just have a bit of a stinker. It might be because Michael Edwards is leaving. Maybe Julian Ward hasn't got that sense or won't be able to negotiate the right prices. Maybe someone from the recruitment team or the analyst team will move on. And suddenly it will maybe start to go wrong. We'll start to see a few more flops creeping into the team. What do we do then? What do we do then? The answer for many is spend on world-class players. And maybe that's right. But as I said with Nunes, as I said with Gavi, as I said with Tchouaméni, who do you risk it all on? Haaland was there. They got him for 58. If you genuinely believe the Man City only paid 58 million for Haaland, you're having a laugh with yourself. And if you believe that there was nothing underhand or slightly illegal about the way that was done, then you're also having a laugh. I'm sure Dortmund, I'm sure his family, I'm sure him are doing very, very, very well out of this deal in some offshore accounts where they won't get taxed at all. Klopp is here next season, says Hyla. Yes, of course he is. Alan says a player like Salah does not come around every year. Exactly. We've had a good run, and there's no guarantee we'll find another one. Salah is a generational talent. Maybe we've made him into one to some extent, but he's not generational. There's no guarantees. You might have thought I had the answer for you on this, on what we do, but I don't. It's just a very interesting topic that's come up. The season has ended. There's no football to keep us occupied. We haven't signed anyone for 50 million quid yet. So naturally, the focus turns to FSG and how our recruitment is done, how we sign players and who we're going to sign. So I just thought it was interesting to bring up and interesting to discuss. If you haven't done so yet, please do like the video and please do subscribe to the channel. I think we'll call it a day there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going for over an hour. It's been great fun. So much interaction in the live chat. So many of you have stuck with me the whole time, which is fantastic. Anissa says, Louis, I'm a realist, so I believe that every team has their day. Football is cyclical, so I don't expect to have constant success under FSG. No, absolutely. And David Murphy says, City's way of doing it is guaranteed. If FSP was worth the paper it's written on, City would have their advantage disappear. We are one of the best teams on the planet, but still second. We should stop even talking about players who earn above 200k per week. Mbappe, Lewandowski and co will never be bought by FSG. Just talk about achievable targets and not fantasy footballers. Well, Lewandowski, I'd say, isn't completely fantasy because this would be his last contract, his last hurrah. Maybe he would take a bit of a pay cut. I don't know. Philip says we have to beat Man City on the football field as we can't beat them in the transfer market as we aren't owned by an oil state. And Hyla says, so how much does increased income truly mean when it comes to success? Well, I'll leave you all to have a think on that one. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please do like that video. There's 55 of you watching here. If you haven't liked it yet, please do press it. It really does help us out. You can also, from now on, leave super chats, super stickers again if you do feel like we deserve it in any way, or if you'd like to get your message well and truly heard. It was turned off for a while, but it's back on again now. So thank you, Jen, for the super chat earlier. And thank you to every single person who's gotten involved and been watching in silence. You're all very welcome. We are here every night, 7:30 p.m. So stick around for tomorrow. We'll have another video for you. And on Wednesday, we'll have Transfer Central as well. So we can really dig into some more of those stories that will be coming thick and fast as the transfer window really starts to heat up. It's not even bloody open yet, is it, officially? So plenty of time for every player to be linked to us. I've been Louis. This has been another episode of the chat room. It's flying by, and I'll see you at some point in another stream. But the chat room will be back next week as well. Can't confirm the day because it's a bit up in the air. But it's been great to see you, great to interact with you, and great to discuss our lovely club. And hopefully more success in store for us soon. This has been the LFC Transfer Room chat room with myself, Louis Felt. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.